So I was thinking to myself last week on my way to a training, I was like, man, you know what I really miss? LARPing. I used to run a LARP for a really long time. I actually ran a game for like 8 years. And then I was like, wait a second. I do still LARP because I run LARP at work. So this time I was like an assistant coordinator, and next time I get to be the actual coordinator. But one of the trainings we put on is like scenarios. We have to like give out roles for different people, and you have like different goals and motivations, and there's like a lot of different moving parts. So we've got all of our like team members who are already on our like statewide team that go through and are like your NPCs. And then we have all the students that come through and are like the player character party. And we LARP all week. And I get paid for it. And it's amazing. It's just work stuff as opposed to like
that seems pretty accurate.
Fantasy. Yes. So I have gotten to, well, actually 6 out of the last 6 work days, I have GM'd a LARP at work and got paid for it. So I really can't complain about that. I was like, no wonder I love this so much. Also, I'm Ash.
Oh yeah, I'm Elle.
And we are Wig-wig Cosplay.
This is Shit Cosplayers Say, and welcome to our C2E2 episode / the International Cosplay Competition episode, because a billion of them occurred on the same weekend.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little ridiculous how many international competitions happen the weekend of C2E2, so we will be talking about all of them.
Or at least a lot of them.
The ones that we were aware of. There may have been other ones that we were unaware of. There were at least 3 internationals. We also have an update for you at the end about the 2023 preliminaries for the International Cosplay League.
Dun, dun, dun.
So if you want to be us in 2023, you're going to need
listening.
some info.
Keep listening.
At this point... Oh, is that so, friend?
Yes, it is so.
He's watching Bluey, and he's very excited about it.
As he should be. I always get excited when I'm watching Bluey.
Best children's cartoon. We should cosplay Bluey.
Can we have Bluey and Bingo Kigus?
Please.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh my god. It'd be so cute. He agrees.
Yep.
We need to make those.
Okay.
That needs to happen. It would be adorable.
Let's do it.
He agrees with us. He's very excited about this concept.
It's good.
We'd be adorable, to be honest.
Good stuff.
Here I was like, we could do like human representations of them, but Kigus are better.
Oh, yeah. Kigus are better. They are snuggly, comfy clothes.
Well, at this point, C2 was almost a month ago.
It's been a bit.
We haven't recorded in at least a month. Yes, because we are buried in ICL prep, because everything for ICL is due in like a week. So #panic. Because of course, we are perfectionists when it comes to our audio, but if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And we have had literally every issue you possibly can have in trying to get our audio prepared and done.
Well, and we also thought it would be a great idea, instead of using 1 song, to use 3. So we did this to ourselves.
We decided to do the hardest performance we've ever done. With very customized audio and a complete rewrite.
Everything's on fire, and this is fine.
It is a brand new skit, friends. And of course, because our lives were on fire, we were like, oh, we're good. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, it's due.
Oops.
And you have to sync your skit audio to your video, which for any performer who's doing direct from source material, that's not a big deal because it already exists. But we are from the United States and don't know how to do that. So we have to make our own audio with our own voices, with our own music, with our own video that we have to make from scratch because the United States doesn't do replicas of existing material. Because, so for those of you that do not live in the United States, if we would have gone to the prelims with something that was direct from the source material, we would have lost. Because it's just not a thing you do here. It's just not done in our competitions. So
stylistically, like, you don't take the exact scene and replicate it. Like, you do something different.
Yeah, they just don't do that here. Some cons won't even let you do that. So it's not a thing here. We didn't have to go this extra, but it's not a thing. And there is
Too late now.
There's literally nothing for us to use directly from the source material that would be remotely interesting. Like, they interact in Magi constantly, but there's no, like, scene that lasts for 3 minutes that would be, like, epic to replicate. Like, it's just not that kind of
super
material.
impactful.
Yeah, it's just not that kind of material. As of right now, it does look like we're the only anime entry for the contest.
For Japan weekend.
For Japan
I like it.
weekend. Which I think is hysterical. But from what I mean, Belgium hasn't been picked yet, but from what I can tell, we're the only anime entry, which is wild. I don't know that there was anime in 2019, though, at all. Yeah, I don't think that there was. So
I know there were Japanese video games.
Yes, there's plenty of video game entries.
I think there was Final Fantasy in 2019.
There was Final Fantasy, but I don't know that there was anime in 2019 at all. So we're just this weird anomaly where we're gonna do our own audio and our own written performance with anime, and the poor audience of Japan Weekend's gonna be like, "What the hell are these people doing?" Like, what is wrong with the United States?
It's okay. They're American. And then everyone will go,
oh, Americans. Yes. Okay. It's the Americans. Oh, this makes so much sense now.
This makes so much sense.
America.
Yeah. Everybody smile and clap for them. You did a great job. Yeah. Bless their hearts.
Maybe Team Spain can translate that for us.
I need to know what is like
bless your heart in Spanish? What's the equivalent in Spanish?
But we have to explain what bless your heart is. It's a Southern thing. So on its face, it sounds really sweet. And I normally picture like an older woman stating it like, oh, bless their hearts. But really, it is not a compliment and it is not nice because you're looking at these people like, you're an idiot. I need to know what the Spanish equivalent to that is.
What is the Spanish equivalent of bless ya heart? I feel like we're gonna get that when we're at Seattle.
It's good.
Oh boy. But we first need to talk about C2E2.
Let's do it.
Because we went again 7 months from the last time we went.
It was 9.
No? 9?
December
it was 9.
through August.
It was 9.
Yeah. It was 9.
Still, we will not be at 2023 because it's 7 months after. And that's just too much C2E2.
Yeah. That's a lot of C2E2.
It's a lot of C2E2.
We have other things we want to do in spring this year.
It's just, no thanks. We did have the privilege of representing Sheprop for C2E2 as their moderators. We got to work with Beverly and getting that all set up and meet her because she was at the convention. So Downen Creative Studios was one of the guests at the convention. So we got to actually meet Beverly. So that was fun. But we did the Talk Shop with Sheprop panel with Wig-wig. So Wig Small came with us. So Wig Small had to deal with us for the entire weekend. Bless your heart.
But for real.
Because we're a lot. And we were so burnt out at C2E2 that I'm sure we were an adventure to be around for an entire weekend.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Wig Small. We love you. Wig Small of Wig-wig Cosplay came with us. We had ProsandConsCosplay, so we had Con on the panel. Ginoza Costuming, PaisleyandGlue, and SakuraSunset Cosplay came and joined us for the Talk Shop with Sheprop panel in Cosplay Central.
We had a good audience.
In true, like, C2E2 fashion, like, the thing that we do at C2E2 is meet a shitload of people that we've talked to for, like, the past year, finally in person.
Yeah.
So we got to meet Plexi Cosplay, who was also a guest, who is a big fan of the podcast. So it was really great to meet Candace in person and kind of get to chat with her. And she actually told us a story about how she used broken glass in one of her costumes at one point. A unique use of materials, right?
Yes, it's one of my favorite things to write on judging sheets.
Well, and then Candace was kind enough to introduce us to Talk Customs, who is the founder of the Ultimate Cosplay Championship. Because we would love at some point to do an episode on the Ultimate Cosplay Championship. He is as fun as he looks. He's a good time. He's very sweet. It was very nice to talk to him.
Perlertricks was there as Effie Trinket from the Hunger Games, and I saw this and I was like, yes!
If you have not seen his Effie suit, you need to go look at it. It's beautiful. They used some really unique stenciling, 3D stenciling techniques to do the butterflies, so they didn't have to attach thousands of butterflies individually, but still got that neat 3D effect. It's very cool to look at.
Well, and I really like, because I've looked at possibly constructing that dress at some point, off and on for years. I love whenever I can geek out with other people about the fact that the original dress was actually made out of feathers. Because there's 10,000 feathers, I think, in the original.
Because we've talked on and off about making this dress.
It's just so
impractical. But my issue is the fact that I won't be able to sit down.
Yes.
Because I know at one point we talked about, dress under a dress so that I could, vent the skirt so I could sit down. And then it would, snap back together. Just so that I could sit in it. Because that's is the shoes and being able to sit were our big, not the butterflies, shockingly, was not our big concern. It's my ability to sit down.
It's this structured garment and then these crazy, crazy heels.
Because these shoes, I don't know that I could safely walk in. We were looking at, building them around clear wedges so that I could walk. I don't know. That dress might be a maybe at some point kind of deal.
No time soon.
But no time soon. It's one of those that's really deceptively simple. Where on the outside you're like, oh, that's not too bad. It's a shift dress, And then you start thinking about the details on it, and you're like, oh, this is not as simple as it
oh
looks.
no.
There's a lot of those butterflies are sitting off of the dress, and it's not as simple as it looks. But I really liked how Perlertricks harkened to some of the original construction portions, and then kind of almost made it more wearable. Essentially, but still there was a lot of throws to the original garment. And then they came on stage with the orb with the names in it, which was fun.
So we got to see Mpoppins cosplay again, and she competed in a original pirate poison ivy, I believe. Yes, that was gorgeous. It had a lot of fun little hidden gems, so little Easter eggs for any poison ivy fans. The stitching on the sleeves and stuff. It was fun to see up close.
And the map of the convention center that she hand embroidered.
That was fun.
PaisleyandGlue, Casey Renae, and SilkenStiches did super snazzy old time versions of the Sandersen sisters.
Yes, please.
As always, it is an absolute pleasure to see Casey. She is a little bundle of joy. That's always fun to talk to. She fits Sarah very well. It was a good choice for her. As the person who would also play Sarah.
Right.
And then PaisleyandGlue was Winnie. She had the fan is the book. It's great. The eye moves. It's fantastic. But of course, it was also great to see Becky. As always. We were all very tired at C2E2. We got to see Jedimanda's Titanic dress up close.
Oh my goodness.
And this is the first time we've officially met Manda. I'm pretty sure we've run into her on and off, but absolute fantastic person to chat with. We got to geek out about Titanic and the 2 VHS required to watch Titanic.
Yes. Well, and I just, of course, I'm a fashion nerd. I took fashion history courses in college, and I was like, I love this outfit.
The striped travel suit is one of the best outfits in Titanic. And it's on screen so briefly.
Well, yeah.
But it's such
it's
such an amazing garment. Like,
yes. But her rose was gorgeous. I'm a huge fan.
we had to see Searin Cosplay again.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time since we've seen Rin, and hopefully we're going to see them again in Wisconsin in a couple months here when we hit ClausCon North. But they did Arya Stark, and JoJo. There was lots of JoJo posing from Searin over the weekend.
Of course, we got to run into Tim from
Literally.
HDC Fabrications.
Literally run into Tim because he was running everywhere.
Yes.
HDC Fabrications runs the cosplay repair booth in Cosplay Central, so Tim is head of that booth, and so he is always running around like a chicken with his head cut off at C2E2 because they're always super, super busy. They are kind of getting to the point where they almost need 2 booths because there's just constant people there all the time. So he was very, very occupied this weekend, and we happened to run into him as he was running across the
con floor, yeah.
We also met a newer cosplayer who had emailed me a while back. stitchybcosplay had emailed us a while back wanting some help with solving a costume problem. She and I had emailed back and forth with some pictures and stuff, and I gave her some suggestions. And then the contest she went to, she ended up winning an award when she went to that contest. So she actually happened to come to our live show afterward and then wore the costume to the meetup. So it was awesome to see it in person, and I'm so happy that you brought it to share with us and that you came up after the live show to, be like, hey, I'm here, because we love meeting all of you that we talk to. Like, it's nice. It's also nice to know how, like, hey, you took some advice from us and it worked. Like, sweet. Good to know, because we never know if we're giving good advice or not. We usually think we are, but how do we know for sure?
That's your imposter syndrome speaking.
I know it is. But it was an absolute pleasure to see the costume up in person. It's lovely. So can check out, and we'll, as we usually do, we will tag everybody. We will put their Instagrams in the notes. We will kill our Instagram with ats and tagging
so many
to the point where at some point it's just going to get really mad at us for tagging like 500 people in a post.
I mean, if they don't get mad at people for doing the share sites,
I mean, at this point it's not going to matter because no one sees our Instagram anyway. We're back for some reason at that point where we're like, we get 5% of our followers, so we don't know what happened, but our Instagram's having a problem again, so
it happens.
It is what it is. There's nothing I can do.
Speaking of social media, somebody talked about our wig video in a panel in reference to TikTok.
Panel that Talk Customs, Perlertricks, and Candace were on, Plexi Cosplay, so I'm gonna guess it was probably Plexi, but I don't know for sure. But Perlertricks told us, they were like, hey, someone mentioned your wig in the panel when we were trying to figure out how TikTok works, and they were like, well, apparently all you need to do is upload a short video of you squishing a wig, and you're gonna get like thousands of hundreds of views. And
I'm really entertained by the fact that
was
was brought
up.
Did
we like accidentally figure out TikTok, and how do we replicate it?
Apparently we need to squish more wigs.
Because the post that I uploaded as to how the wig is actually made got like 100 views. So
what's our current count on the wig squishing?
Let me look for the exact number. It's stopped pretty much at this point. Like, we'll get like 1 like a day at this point, so it's kind of stopped gaining. But
everybody that wanted to see the crunch has seen the crunch.
Yeah, 226,900 views.
Oh, we're so close to the next one.
With 17,100 likes.
Alrighty then.
I don't know. But then, like, video about how you put the wig together only has, like, 4,000 views. So, I don't know.
That's not nearly as interesting, obviously.
I guess not, because it's practical. Scrunch, apparently, that's how TikTok works. Because that same video on Instagram only has 800 views. But then the crunch video on Instagram only has 10,000 views. So I don't understand any of this shit. I don't get it. Facebook's now doing it too. I don't want 3 TikToks, but that's a whole nother episode. Don't get me started on how I don't want everything to be TikTok, because I really don't.
So we did get moved back to our After Dark slot on Friday night. We had a really fun show. We had a tech person in there with us too, and they seemed to be like they were having a really good time.
Yes, they had a good time. Most of our friends ate and fell asleep and didn't make it, but that's okay because we sent them video.
That's normal. It's okay.
It's okay because we're all old and we're tired. Well, so the hard part with C2E2 is, the floor closed at 7 and our show was at 8:30. So people go and they eat, and a lot of people don't stay right there at, like, the convention hotel. A lot of people commute in for C2E2. So the only people coming to After Dark are typically people who are staying at one of the hotels. So if you weren't staying at one of the hotels, you have probably left by 8:30. I mean, we had a great audience, as usual. C2 is usually very excited to see us. We were a special feature of After Dark this year. We had an ad and everything that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
That was cool.
We were in the, like, official Friday email for C2E2. That was really neat.
Yeah, we were like the headliner event for After Dark on Friday, and we were like, no one told us that one.
I mean, and then they almost didn't put us in After Dark.
I know,
like, can you imagine?
They almost didn't put us there. That was a surprise, but
excellent.
They seemed to have a good time with the show. Had the smallest stage in existence.
That's
that
fine.
Apparently has tables on it because actors have fallen off of it before.
Right. We're like, can we move these? And they're like, no, it's for your safety.
Like,
we're like,
voice actors and stuff have fallen off of it before. So we had to keep a table there, so that was interesting. But then we had forgotten one of our props that is necessary for our closer, so the table came in handy anyway.
It's all right. It's fine.
Oops.
Adapt and overcome.
Yeah, we'll just have to make a prop that fits in the suitcase so
Inside
that I can't leave it behind. We'll get it figured out, because we also need a travel version of Phil at some point too, because when we can't drive, it's going to be really hard to take Phil. So he takes up an entire suitcase, and although we can pack inside Phil, that's only practical if we don't have to bring costumes to wherever we're going. So,
sure.
Depending on what costumes we're bringing, but if we're competing, we can't bring Phil. It's just not.
No, he has to stay home.
Yeah, it's just not going to be. So we're going to have to come up with some sort of miniature version of Phil, whether it be like a picture of Phil that we put on the table with us, or what we have to do, because he won't always be able to attend with us. Mini Phil can, though.
I think we need to get, like, headshots of Phil.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
And then we can bring them to the con and have people sign him.
Oh, that's cute. And then we'll have one from each con.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute. We should do that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So wherever Phil can't go, Phil gets a signed headshot. So
that would be fun.
I think so.
That would be cute. We could do that. That'd be fun for when we have tables too.
So we only cosplayed for like 5 minutes.
We only cosplayed for the Sheprop meetup, which we also ran. We threw Wicked Lady and Nine on, ran down there, did the thing, and changed. We probably should mention it was extraordinarily hot the weekend of C2E2. It was over 100 degrees, extremely humid. It was so hot. And at that point in time, we were also super stressed about many, many things. So the energy to cosplay was not really there. And because we have all these things we have to get ready for ICL, we were both very concerned about getting COVID and then not being able to rehearse and not being able to prep our audio. And, because if one of us gets COVID but the other one doesn't, we can't rehearse for almost 2 weeks, which right now is not a good thing. Because we are in final rehearsal mode now, where we need to do that once a week and everything. So we were just tired. We forgot to take pictures in costume, too, again. Someday y'all will see what Wicked Lady and Nine look like, but you're going to have to wait for a professional photo shoot at this point, because we apparently forget to take selfies of these costumes when we put them on. You'll just have to see them when we get our professional photos done in October. But we got to go to Hot Pot.
That was fun. I have not been to a hot pot since I was in Thailand.
I've never gone. This was my first time. But there is a hot pot restaurant about a block away from the Marriott in downtown by C2E2. I now want one in my home. Wig Small is supposed to tell me when she buys one and if it's quality, and then I may just buy whatever one that she gets because I really want it in my life. That was so easy. You just put it all in there, and then you just leave it for like 5 minutes or so, and it all cooks, and it's like, boom.
And then you have soup. Boom soup.
Oh, really? Are you singing us a song?
About soup.
About soup. We got to go hot pot, and I really want my own hot pot, so... We also trekked in the hot, sweaty grossness to Chinatown, which is not very far. It's maybe a mile. But what we didn't think about was how extremely humid it was.
Oh, so humid.
And so by the time we get down there, we're dying. Well, everything is packed.
Or closed.
Or the air conditioner doesn't work. Which we were not at this point going to sit anywhere that didn't have air conditioning.
That's all right. We had boba.
We did have boba, and then we did find a place that had seats that wasn't going to be like an hour long, because we went down there originally to have sushi, and then the wait was over an hour.
Because they have one of those sushi train restaurants, and we're like, yeah, sushi train! But then they had a really long wait, and we're like, well, no. So we left and got boba, and they're like, all right, now let's find food. And then we found food. It was delicious.
The boba was delicious. I'm not a big fan of boba, but that stuff was really good.
Yes. I was double fisting boba. I had, I think, a tea in one hand and a coffee in the other.
Well,
I'm dehydrated.
Severely dehydrated. And then we went back and watched Crown on the computer because I was not... Crown filled like 2 hours before it even happened anyway, as far as seating's concerned. I will say I was very disappointed with Virtual Ticket this year.
Virtual Ticket was pretty disappointing. I will say that having done Crown in the Room every year that we've gone, I don't know if I ever actually want to go to Crown because I just really enjoy the in the room experience. But yeah, Virtual Ticket, they got rid of the discounted tickets like super last minute, because it used to be, and up until recently, you got like a $5 discount if you had a badge. Well, of course, by the time we got our badges, they decided that wasn't a thing anymore. And then it was like only only main stage.
Yeah.
Right?
So the year before there were like Cosplay Central and a bunch of like side panels and main stage, and there were like 5 things on it this year for $20. Now, we didn't pay for our badges for C2E2, so paying $20 just to watch Crown isn't a huge deal, but that's really kind of disappointing, especially since you're making people pay on top of the badge they already have.
Yeah.
Like at that point you could have just streamed main stage and made people put their badge numbers in or something. Like,
right.
You know, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't know that I could go back to watching Crown in a room unless I'm physically in Crown, because it's just too convenient to eat dinner and watch it in the hotel room.
In your pajamas.
And I don't have to wait in line for 2 hours to try to get a seat, to not be able to see anything because you're stuck in the back. Like, and it's still too early for me to want to be in a room with that many people. Because C2E2 had 0 COVID precautions. None. People weren't wearing masks. There was no testing. There was nothing. So just wasn't super comfortable with that idea, considering we were trying not to get COVID so we could practice and like be prepared for ICL. Yeah, it is nice to watch it online. I'm just disappointed that there were so few things in Virtual Ticket.
But speaking of Crown Championships, lots of sewing winning this year.
They did not do the category thing this year.
No.
There wasn't like... And I could have sworn before that first, second, and third place were they always separate from the category people? Okay, they were.
So the way that it used to work up until this year is they had a first, second, and third place overall. And then in addition to that, they had a first, second, and third place in each category. So you had 12 overall winners out of... we'll say 30 contestants, just to pick a number. So anywhere between 4 to 6 entries would be from a single category. Like, I think one year, like, first through third overall were armor. So then technically, like, your 4th, 5th, and 6th armor entries would have been first, second, and third in the category. Is how they used to do it. But this year, they just did a first, second, and third overall. But lots of sewing. So third place went to Searin Cosplay as Arya Stark. And second place went to PaisleyandGlue as rococo winifred sandersen. And then the Chicago champion was Pro of ProsandConsCosplay as the Nikki Mythical Tarot Chariot dress. And it was really pretty.
Also, friend power, what?
I know. We're like screaming because we're like,
we know all these people!
We know all these people! So we have all these like super feels for all these people that we know doing the thing and are super proud.
Because like at that point,
congratulations again.
We're all like getting our shit together because we're like, we're gonna have to run down when this is over because our friends won the Chicago preliminaries, so we're gonna have to run to see them because that's a thing. So they do the Chicago qualifier, but then they did the US qualifier, so the national qualifier at C2 as well. People from a couple of the other conventions that they were able to hold preliminaries for in 2022 came to C2E2 to compete for the national title.
And it used to be the finals, the world finals were also held in Chicago. Well, at least for this year, they're not. They're actually being held in London in October. And then we're going back to the old format after this. So this is like the one chance that the US champion has to go somewhere else.
So for 2023, which ECCC 2022 to C2E2 2023 all belong to the 2023 qualifier, except that ECCC 2023 will happen before C2E2 2023. So ECCC has always been a year ahead. Their 2022 winner is going to go to 2023. Their 2023 winner is going to go to 2024. I had a bunch of people asking me about this recently, so I figured I'd just throw it in there. But for the 2023 competition, they are returning to the old format. There are category awards again. They are doing FX, armor, and needlework. That's all back. So previously, they used to take X amount in each category, and that is returning for 2023. So if you've been waiting for that to come back, it's coming back. The performance thing is gone. They nixed it. It's gone.
The people have spoken.
We're going back to the old format. The international finals are back at C2E2. Everything's going back to how it was. But we did have the national qualifier for 2022 at C2E2. So the Supercon champion was Avera Cosplay as Saint Celestine, Mercy, Warhammer, and Overwatch crossover. So they did like a mashup of two characters. NYCC champion was Kylander Kouture as an original design from Outlander. The ECCC champion was the Honest cosplayer as Xenomorph Queen from Alien. So what you're going to notice in Crown this year in general, if you go back and look at it, an astounding amount of costumes are original designs based on existing characters. Massive amount of entries this year were original designs. However, as you can probably guess, because we haven't mentioned them yet, the US champion was ProsandConsCosplay, who is on their way to MCM London in October. So congrats to our friend. We ran super, super fast to go see them after this contest was finally over. So we could do the international team dance, basically.
Yeah.
Because we also had Wig Small with us. So it was like, oh, look, it's all US international teams, all from the Midwest. What?
What?
Midwest represent? What's going on here? So C2E2 has continued their late Sunday contest as well. So it is different from when I entered it back in 2020. Would that have been 2020? There's no performance anymore. It's walk-ons. But they hold it late Sunday, like 4:30 or so?
Yes. So they gave out 3 judges' choices, a best group and a best in show from what I could see. So we had Joe Notar 23 as the Mandalorian, which was a Marvel Star Wars crossover, which was super fun to see. Sharp Shot EFX as Vecna from Stranger Things, and then Scarred Mewtwo as Loki. Best group was CK Cosplays and Ava Lee as Howl and Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. I only got one of the names for the best in show, but it was Kobayashi-san, and it was Captain Hook and Tinkerbell from Peter Pan. So if you have Tink's Insta, please tag us so that we can therefore tag them, because that would be great. So we can give credit where credit is due. But congratulations.
Many other contests occurred on this weekend or near this weekend of C2E2.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So many contests. As per usual, WCS Canada is always a year ahead, and they had their Canadian preliminaries that weekend, and the 2023 team is Annie Mae as Madoka and Homura from Madoka Magica. They also had the CRX Crunchyroll Expo, Hime's Cosplay Cup, and yeah, there was a lot going on.
There are so many awards in this contest.
There are so many awards in this contest.
Crunchyroll's contest is very interesting because this year in particular, they did a hybrid model of video and on stage. So you had the option to either enter as a video entry or come and be on stage.
It was really neat to actually watch the stream. But yeah, it was a good time. But they do categories. So they've got beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But they do construction and performance as two of their placement awards. But then they also have a placement award for innovation. And so I'm going to go ahead and read kind of what they put down for that. And it says, this is how your entry brings something new to the table, be it a construction technique used in a novel way or performance that does something delightfully outside the norm. This category is how your entry takes traditional cosplay performance and levels it up into something new and innovative. So I thought this was a really interesting award. But yes, there are a ton of these. For the Judges' Choice Awards, we had Suncake, Mooncake. Their award went to Azurumi, as Child from Genshin Impact, Reagan Catherine, Song and Dance Cosplay, Subaru Kimui and Airedale, Anthe and Utena from Revolutionary Girl Utena, Papa Bear's Judge's Choice, Lutavia Cosplay as Vera from Final Fantasy XIV, Merida, it's Camilla Joe, which is Circus of Miss Joe, and they were Belle from Belle.
I support all these random Utena cosplayers suddenly showing up in all these contests.
Yes.
More Utena.
Well, and speaking of the judges, so one of the really cool things that this particular contest does is they actually invite one of their contestants back to be a judge the next year. And they pay their way and everything, just like a regular judge, to come and do it. And that's super neat.
I'm all about this resurgence of Utena, though.
Please?
Because we might finish those in 2023. We'll see.
We'll see.
They would be nice wearable costumes.
So best construction beginner was Oji-san's cosplay as Kaleem from Twisted Wonderland. Best performance beginner was Lemon Bar Sauce as Anya from Spy Family. And best innovation beginner was Gamma Ray Cosplay as Yamato from One Piece. Best construction intermediate, I am totally going to butcher this, but it was Feilie Kitsune as Hatsune Miku from Vocaloid. Best performance intermediate was Novice Cosplay with a K as Alita from Code Lyoko. Best innovation intermediate was Anver and Gi as Azika Izinski and Yusei Yudo from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Best construction advanced, Sarcasm Hime as Snow White from Sino Alice. That's a name I used to see pop up quite a bit.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yes. One of us. Best performance advanced, Rach Sesmer as Hilda from Fire Emblem. And the best innovation advance went to Ellie and Nicole as Sophie and Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. And then on top of that, we also do best individuals. They had Jakey as Kiyohime from Onmyoji. Best group was We Need Disguises as Byleth and Roy from Fire Emblem Three Houses and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Rising Star, which I know there's several cons have introduced this, and I kind of like the concept of it, was Chrissy Plays Dress Up as Cure Summer from Tropical Rouge Pretty Cure. The Director's Choice Award. So the director of this is Char, and like I had kind of mentioned earlier, she picks somebody who just kind of embodies the entire like spirit of the competition, and then they get invited back to be a judge next year, along with all the perks that all of their other judges get. So, I mean, they pay for their travel and everything for them to be able to come back and be a judge, and I just think that's super cool. Also, I had a huge fangirl moment when I realized who this was, because it's TristenCitrine, and once upon a time, when I was a baby cosplayer, there was this Sailor Moon musical group called Sailor Jamboree that used to perform at cons all the time, and like me in the Midwest, middle of nowhere, like loving Sailor Moon, I'm like, oh my god, my idols, these people right here. So like, senpai, notice me, please. But, so, yeah.
Are you saying we need to bring Char on to talk about Sailor Jamboree?
Would you
die?
Nerded out. I would die. I would literally die.
Char, do you hear this?
Yeah, I would literally die. I had a legitimate reason to send her a message on, like, social media, and I was like, oh my god, she responded. But anyway, moving on to the important things. Director's Choice went to Bird King Cosplay as Sakura from Cardcaptor Sakura. They also did this really sweet thing where they gave an Above and Beyond award to one of their staff members, and it was wholesome, and that went to Luluco. I believe that Luluco is the only person that's kind of been on both sides of the fence for this particular competition. But yeah, they listed off all of her accolades, and it was very nice. It was cool that they did that. Before doing Best in Show, which went to Bambi Lash's design as Yae Miko from Genshin Impact. We get to see Bambi Lashes here in a couple weeks because she is one of our jury members for ICL.
It's a very small competition world.
But yeah, and so you might have noticed they had several winners who were actually international, because you do not have to live in the United States to compete in this particular contest, especially since they did that nice hybrid model. So Bambi Lashes and some of the other winners actually live outside the country, which was really cool. But wait, there's more.
Because we have the ever coveted international contest of the World Cosplay Summit.
Right, like
Mexico. No, not this year.
not this. No.
Once upon a time, there was a year that Mexico won over half of.
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7.
Everything
it was
just
a lot. Mexico. Well, and I just really love their announcers.
Yes.
And
they've been doing this forever.
The English announcer, I just love it when he talks anyway. But yeah, every time he'd go, Mexico! And we're like, yes, Mexico!
Mexico! It was not Mexico this year, though.
It was not Mexico this year.
They did win something, but it was not Mexico this year.
Yes. So the first thing that we did do is we went ahead and watched the stage division, because what they did was you could enter the stage division and physically go to Japan, or submit a video. So they also did kind of a hybrid model. So we watched the stage division. The costume award from Arta Wigs went to Thailand, who did Elden Ring. I will say that I love this skit. I've never seen a skit quite like it, and you should go watch it because it's a treat. It was just, it was a good time.
I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
It was so relatable for any of you that have ever played a video game in your life. Like, so relatable.
I lost it.
I know. We're like, what? It's amazing.
I mean, basic premise. You need to go watch it, but it's like a skit within a skit because the streamer is involved.
Yes. So it's essentially somebody streaming themselves playing a video game.
It's brilliant.
It's good. It's a good time.
You have to go watch it.
Go watch it. The Stage Direction Award, which is from the Nagoya University of Arts, went to Australia, who did The Legend of Zelda. And then the Alumni Award went to France, who did Sailor Moon. The two judges that I know for sure that they brought back as alumni this year were Australia from when Wiru went. So that's really exciting. Third place did go to Thailand for Elden Ring. Second place did go to Australia for The Legend of Zelda. And our grand champions were France. And they had so many costume changes.
I have never seen you. I don't even know how to. I can't describe this skit. You just have to go watch it.
And I think that the thing about it is that it's a more of a novelty. Like, I've seen more costume changes in a skit before, but they didn't just change the costumes. They were actually changing characters.
Yes. Like, everything.
Yes. So you just go watch all of them, and then you'll see what we're talking about.
It's wild. I was like, how are they, I want to see a video of them explaining how the hell they did this, because
right.
Can we get to know.
I need a video from behind the set.
Yes. Like,
so I can see what's going on.
They are doing this. Like, how are you doing this? Because I don't understand how you're doing this.
How?
So
they also had a ton of awards for the video division, because I think pretty much everybody participated in video. And I just really love the name of this. The Supermassive Global Award went to Korea. The Holiday Matsuri Award. We were joking about this ahead of time because, of course, one of the teams is from the United States. And we're like, how sucky would that be if you won the Holiday Matsuri Award and you just got like a trip to Florida and you already live here? But that did go to Chile. The Arta Wigs Wig Award went to Canada. Prop Making Award went to India. The Brother Award for Costume Making went to France. We had a couple performance awards. So Comedy went to Thailand. Again, they did a twist on their Elden Ring skit from the Stage Division, but had some definite upgrades there. The Action Award went to Indonesia. The Drama Award went to Denmark. Sound Direction Award, which was also from Nagoya University of Arts, went to Spain. The Tamakoshi Visual Direction Award went to Sweden, and the Alumni Award went to China. Third place for the video division went to Thailand. Second place went to Mexico. And then the grand champions for the video division were Sweden. So many international costume contests over this one weekend. I used up so much data on my phone.
But speaking of internationals, so we did mention that the US prelims for ICL and Cosplay World Masters will be held at Youmacon 2022. Please go to Yomacon's cosplay page for exact instructions. The signups should be available soon. They are clarifying some rules at the moment. ICL will have both a duo and a solo competition. Duo must perform a skit. At finals for ICL, solo is craftsmanship only. So if you compete for ICL, you get to go to Spain, like us, in September of 2023.
One of us.
Cosplay World Masters is a solo and performance competition, and you go to Portugal in the spring. You can compete for both ICL and CWM. From what we are understanding from their coordinator, all solo international entries will be required to do a 90-second presentation. They haven't really clarified what that is yet. They should be updating the rules soon as far as what presentation means. So if you are wondering whether or not it has to be a full-on skit or if it can be a fancy walk-on, you should ask the contest coordinator.
After you read the rules.
I definitely would ask them, because we also what this did to Crown. So don't just assume it's something you don't want to do. I would ask them and see what it really looks like, because a lot of people sat out on Crown thinking they had to do like a full-on skit, and it turned out you could just do a walk-on that was 90 seconds long. Definitely ask the coordinator if you're not sure, because once you go to ICL for finals, you do not do a performance. ask if it's not clarified in their updated rules. That should be up shortly.
And I do believe that a change that they are making, which it used to be fine, and then they changed it for the year that we went, but now they're changing it back, is you can technically compete for both the Masquerade and the Internationals at the same time this year. Again, double check the rules, but that's what I've heard, is that you're going to be able to do both. You just cannot win both. You can only win one or the other. Wig-wig got both. So then they're like, oh, we're not going to let them do that. You have to compete in one or the other. But then they're like, oh, well, you can compete in both, but you can only win one or the other.
Which is the one that
which
makes
I think
the most
is fair.
sense. That's what whole map does.
That seems super fair. Yeah.
But do know that if you compete as a duo, you cannot compete in the solo competitions. So you cannot enter each other separately and as a duo. You do the duo competition or you do the solo competitions. You cannot do all three. Both contests have different media and costume restrictions, so do check them, because they all have their own rules. They all have their own reuse rules. Yomacon's Masquerade itself has a very strict reuse rule, and typically you have to adhere to the home con's rules. Check it. If it doesn't clearly say, you ask the contest coordinator.
You mean I have to read the rules and then ask the contest coordinator if I can't find my answer there?
Read the rules thoroughly, especially if you intend to enter all three.
Gasp!
Because you will want to make sure you pick something that is eligible for all three contests. But just double check, because you cannot reuse a costume at Yoma if it has won a certain type of award. You will want to check that. And I want to say that Cosplay World Masters has different rules about reusing than ICL does. So they all three have different rules. So if you want to be eligible for all three, you need to make sure that you make something that matches all three. And if you don't care if you're eligible for all three, then that's, a different ballgame. So our next episode is going to be a little bit different. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. Probably when we are packing everything together for the final countdown, essentially. We will be doing the last episode before we leave live. So we will be taking your questions as well as talking a little bit about our process to the preliminaries. However, we don't know exactly when we're going to be at that point where we're packing everything up. So it could be 2 weekends before, it could be the weekend before. Just kind of depends on when we're at that point, but we will hopefully be able to stream a bit while we're packing and answer some of your questions and talk about the process that we went through in going from prelims to where we're at right now before we leave. This is largely to save our sanity and still make sure you get an episode.
Gasp.
Because we are not doing the episode we should be doing because we're too burnt out to do the episode on burnout. Instead, we're going to try to be super relevant to the current now and do this instead. If you would like to submit questions beforehand, you can DM us on social media or you can email us at podcastscs@gmail.com. You can also ask them live if you are able to attend live. We will later post it to YouTube as well as the audio to the podcast. The next time you hear from us will be us prepping for Spain, and then after that we will be in Spain.
Crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
No, we will be doing at least 1, if not 2 episodes in regards to Spain. So I will say our upload schedule is going to be wonky for probably the next 4 to 6 weeks, just because, well, we're going to be in Spain.
Just because.
We're going to be in Spain. We can't really do an episode about ICL until we've been at ICL. So downloads might be a little weird. There might be 2 weeks in between things, but we'll get it caught up. At one point, we have 2 episodes that are a week apart. So you still get all your episodes you were supposed to get. They're just going to come in a little bit different order than we had originally planned, because if it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
We're adapting and overcoming.
Yes, we are trying to adapt to all of our burnout and all the crazy and all the if it can go wrong that has occurred. Bear with us. We know it's been a while since we've had a full episode. Thanks for hanging with us as we got our shit together, essentially, as we are desperately trying to stay afloat to finish everything in a week.
A month. It's a month.
Well, literally everything has to be done in a week because all our stuff is due in a week.
Oh, well, yeah.
So after that, it's just okay. But, the audio has been the biggest burden right now to try to make sure that it's exactly the way we want it, because once it's done, it's stuck that way. Unlike when you perform on stage and things are allowed to evolve, you cannot do that. So once the inflections are there and everything's there, that's the way you have to perform it. Just making sure that everything's exactly the way we want it, and that it sounds good, and that it matches up with everything else we need to do, and then we get our subtitles on it before we send it off. Because you also have to have a video for the International Cosplay League that plays in the background and typically has subtitles on it.
Well, I am Ash.
And I'm Elle.
And we are Wig-wig Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say. You've been listening to Shit Cosplayers Say, an LVC production. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast SCS. Our website is lavicosplay.com. Have a fun, crazy con or cosplay-related story, absurd cosplay question, or just something in general to share with us? Email us at podcastscs@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should.